Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Remote Control. I'm Robert, and with me today is my co-host Rachel.
Hey guys.
On this episode, we answer the call while talking to Austin Savatt of the Steel City Ghostbusters as we talk with him about his trip to LA for the premiere of the remake of Ghostbusters. Then, we sit back and see a glimmer of hope as we talk about the new Rogue One sizzle reel that came out today. With that, we're also going to talk about some different headlines from the past week. So make sure you sit back, sip on your Ecto Cooler, and enjoy the show. Alright, so starting off with headlines, we're going to get into some TV here. The first thing up, again, another Flash article. I know you guys are probably getting sick of me talking about Flash all the time.
Yes.
But a picture of Kid Flash was unveiled by CW, and revealing that we will finally see Wally West begin his journey as a speedster. Personally, I'm kind of excited about this. I know, Rachel, you're not a big Flash fan.
I'm just not a DC fan. I mean, I saw the picture and I'm like, what's this? Why is the suit yellow or whatever it was?
You gotta watch the show. I'm telling you. Watch the show. It's on Netflix. You can binge watch it before the next season and you'll be happy. But with that, not only did we get to see Kid Flash, there was also a leaked photo of the potential villain of the third season. He's wearing a black suit slightly similar to that of Zoom's from Season 2. However, there is a larger lightning bolt on the front of his chest, as well as some red and yellow coloring added throughout the costume. Some believe it to be Black Racer, while others kind of think it could be a brand new type of character. So, either way, it looks like Flash Season 3 is moving along pretty well, and hopefully we get some more details on that with San Diego Comic-Con coming up this week.
Now, will you be more happy with, a new villain or, a canon villain?
Personally, I'm kind of getting sick of the speedster for speedster thing. They've done that the past 2 seasons. Now, again, this could be just a villain that's in 1 or 2 episodes. He may not be the overarching villain of the series or season. So, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that it's not somebody who is the overarching villain. I don't care if it's somebody new or Black Racer. They've done such a great job with the show so far. I really trust what they're doing with it. So, I mean, really, it doesn't matter to me if it's new or an existing character. But keeping with CW, Stephen Amell, who plays Oliver Queen on CW's Arrow, tweeted out a picture of a behind-the-scenes look at Arrow. Basically, it's just a picture of Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, bloodied, sweaty, with long hair. Now, if you are a fan of the show, you know that there are flashback scenes within every episode. This could be a flashback scene where he has his long hair again. Not really sure. It doesn't really tell us much, but again, it's good to see that production is underway as well, because again, both Arrow and The Flash are 2 of the better, in my opinion, 2 of the better comic book shows that are out there today.
I don't know about that. I mean, well, for DC maybe, but for me, I'm still in love with Jessica Jones. Even though there was only 1 season of it, I feel like it was the best.
Oh, Jessica Jones is actually up for an award that was announced earlier this week.
Yeah, I did see that.
So it's deserving. It was a hell of a season, and definitely excited about another season for that. However, how are they going to top the Purple Man? I really don't know.
I don't know, because David Tennant. David Tennant. That's all I got to say. And maybe they should just bring Kilgrave back and be like, oh, it's just, he didn't die.
That's the thing. I mean, if you know anything about the comics, Kilgrave was powerful enough in the comics to take on the entire Avengers.
Exactly.
And the fact that Jessica Jones, not saying that she's a weakling in any way, but
she's a weakling.
She was able to defeat Kilgrave by herself. Spoilers, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel that it's going to be hard to top somebody like him. But again, I don't know much about Jessica Jones, so maybe there is another villain that will be worthy enough to be in that.
Well, I think there's several villains. I can't think of any off the top of my head because I didn't really read the comic books for Jessica Jones, but I did try and read up on it before watching the series on Netflix when it aired.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, there's so much more that they can do with it. I know that. So I guess if they are going to make a second season, if this is true, then I think it'll be good.
I mean, I know the whole thing. They're really pushing to get the Defenders on Netflix. So, I mean, whether Jessica Jones season 2 takes place before or after that is still kind of unknown. But I think once you hit the Defenders, a lot, especially how they did with Avengers, it was kind of like, okay, here's the first Avengers movie, and then the villains after that just kind of seemed bland. I think that was the problem with Phase 2. A lot of the villains just didn't seem as threatening as Loki did from the Avengers. And
well, I think because when you're talking about Loki, you got to see him in the first Thor movie, where he was kind of like tough, but yet he had that vulnerableness to him. And then, like, he really kind of amps himself up in the Avengers movie, so it makes you think, like, oh, shit, he's pissed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly, and then, But
there was that build, I should say.
Yeah, there was a build, but then you get into that Phase 2, and every villain was in one movie and then gone. One movie, then gone. When there was no build with any villain in in Phase 2.
But there was that build to, to
Civil War?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess so, but we know my feelings on that.
Well, you got to think, you have Tony and Steve just sitting there, like, bickering at each other throughout most of the Avenger movies. Mm-hmm. Steve sees that he's fucking up because Tony just wants to do his own shit and is pissing everybody else off. So, yeah, of course, that's going to be the build for Phase 3.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can see that.
Exactly.
Keeping with TV, actually the last thing for TV, The Walking Dead. I know everybody loves The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead has released some art for Season 7. Basically, it's a picture of Negan from the backside holding his baseball bat, and the rest of the characters on their knees in front of him. That's the first art that we've seen. Obviously, we know that the next season's going to open up with the big shocking reveal of who Negan has killed. Spoilers if you haven't kept up to date with The Walking Dead, but there is a major death that is going to take place, at least we speculate is going to take place in the first episode of Season 7.
Unless they do what they did in Terminus, where, like, what was her name? Carol went to go rescue them, and then nobody died.
Yeah.
They could do that again, but I think that pissed a lot of people off.
Well, the season finale of Season 6 pissed a lot of people off, and I still think that I will be surprised if they get high ratings for the first episode of Season 7. I think enough people were pissed off, and I've heard enough people say, I'm done with the show, that it's a possibility that the ratings will start to drop.
Yeah.
But with the art, there was an announcement that, or at least speculation, that we will see the first trailer of Season 7 on July 22nd, which is next weekend, I believe during San Diego Comic-Con, which isn't any surprise. They've done that the last few years, but definitely keep your eyes open for that one.
So, question, who do you think's going to die, if anybody's going to die?
Well, according to the comics, spoilers, according to the comics, Glenn is the one who was killed. That's according to
No.
In my opinion, because I've watched the show from the very beginning, I personally feel that they need to kill off Daryl. And I know that pisses off a lot of fans because everybody loves Daryl, but they have created this world that almost feels safe to live in, and they need to kill off one of their main characters that actually means something. I think if they don't do it here, I think that's pretty much nailing the final nail in the coffin for this show. I know that they've said, this show can go on for forever as long as fans are watching it, but I feel if they don't kill off Daryl here, we'll be lucky to get another 2 or 3 seasons, because I just think that they've waited too long to kill off characters that matter. They have not killed off a character that has mattered since Season 3 when Lori died. People may yell at me right now and say, what about Beth? What about this person? What about that person? I'm sorry.
They weren't main characters,
None of them
they were supporters.
Exactly. None of them were main characters that meant anything to the group. Glenn, they had an ample opportunity to kill off Glenn earlier in the season, And
Right.
if you've watched that, if you saw that whole dumpster thing, I'm sorry, that angered me enough where I stopped watching the show for about 3 weeks, or after the mid-season hiatus. I mean, I had trouble watching it after that because I felt that they dropped the ball there and they bamboozled everyone. So again, I think it's going to be Glenn, but I think it should be Daryl.
I mean, like, I see where you're coming from with it, and, like, Glenn and Daryl are my two favorite characters. So whenever I thought, mid-season that Glenn was gonna die, I was pissed. I was like, no, you can't kill Glenn. He has a baby on the way. Like, come on. But then I'm thinking, that's the other thing that's wrong with it, is just, you're having characters having babies. I mean, this is a zombie apocalypse. That baby ain't gonna last very long. I'm surprised that, Rick's baby lasted this long, because
again,
babies
spoilers,
are noisy.
in the comics, the baby did not make it. So,
well, then what the shit? What are they doing?
Well, that's the thing. I think that people have been crying out, please follow the comics more closely, and they have somewhat lately. But I think that's what they're going to do here. They're going to be like, look, you want us to follow the comics, so we killed Glenn. I think that's what's going to happen.
But Daryl wasn't in the comics.
No, not at all.
Kill him, that's not going to follow the comics at all, because Daryl's not in it.
True, but I think when you look at the main characters, you have Rick, you have Carl, and you have Daryl. I mean, those are the three big ones on the show. You can't kill Carl or Rick because they are technically the story. Right. Daryl would be the next one, and I think that would be the smart way to go. I think it would shock everybody. It would rattle the entire group of survivors, and it could push the story in a different direction. So, I don't know.
I mean, I stopped watching Walking Dead after the episode where the church fell. I think that's what it was. I stopped watching it there because I was just like, you know what, there's not enough action in this series anymore. Like, it gets so boring because all it is dialogue and nothing's happening, and you're like, I want to see zombie killing.
Well, that's the thing. Zombies just didn't seem like a threat anymore until that Glenn episode. When you thought that Glenn finally died right there, it was like, wow, the zombies are a threat
finally
again.
Killed somebody.
And they didn't do it.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's kind of like how people are getting pissed off at Marvel, because, like, all these characters that should have died in the Marvel universe doesn't die, and then Quicksilver dies in the first movie he's in. I'm like, what the shit? Like, Phil's alive? Come on.
Well, maybe Quicksilver will go to Tahiti as well.
Oh, okay.
Who knows? Maybe.
I'm okay with that.
Moving on to video games here. I'm actually going to start. I'm going to take us a little out of order here, Rachel. Nintendo has announced that they are releasing a mini version of the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System. It will use an HDMI cord to connect to the TV and have 30 retro games, Jesus Christ, 30 retro games preloaded on it. The president of North America, Nintendo, states, we wanted to give fans of all ages the opportunity to revisit Nintendo's original system and rediscover why they fell in love with Nintendo in the first place. So, I'm pretty excited about this. It's definitely going to be something I'm going to pick up. There's no price point.
They did. It's $59.99.
$59.99. I guess it's not too bad.
No.
I mean, it's just the amount of one game nowadays, so it's not too bad.
Exactly. What game are you mostly looking forward to?
Personally, Super Mario Brothers 3. That's the only game that I want to play again. So, how about you?
I didn't even hear a word of that.
You didn't hear a word?
It cut out.
Oh.
That's kind of weird.
That's weird. So what did you ask? So you asked,
I asked what game are you looking forward to for the mini Nintendo?
I said Super Mario 3.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that, because I remember growing up playing that game, and that was, like, me and my brother's favorite game, and I remember he'd get so mad at that game, and I would just sit there, like, laugh at him. But honestly, I think for me, I'm looking forward to Final Fantasy, because I love Final Fantasy, and that was, like, my first ever encounter with it, even though I didn't really understand it until, like, I think Final Fantasy VII, and then that's when I really fell head over heels for Final Fantasy.
Did they announce what games were on there by any chance?
Yes, they did.
I
saw it on Facebook. It was like a little video I posted. Let me see if I can try to find it. But,
we'll link it up and everything.
Yeah,
like that, so.
yeah, that's fine.
Continuing on with Nintendo, and I know we talked about this last week, but the big phenomena, Pokemon Go, it's still going strong.
Hey.
Since coming out, it did help Nintendo's stock rise 9% in one day, which is pretty impressive. And it has pushed many kids and adults alike to get out of the house and exercise. But here's my thing. Obviously, if anybody knows me, they know that I've been kind of against the game a little bit. I think it's a little childish. I don't quite understand it. I've never been a Pokemon fan. When I was younger, I'm sorry, while some people lean towards Pokemon, I was leaning towards Dragon Ball Z and that whole side of the whole anime scene.
I did both, though.
But
I mean, you can't give me that piss poor excuse that, I led towards Dragon Ball Z.
I also didn't want to spend the money on the Pokemon cards because I was spending money on Magic the Gathering, so that might put it into more perspective for you.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you didn't have a Game Boy Color with, like, red, blue, or yellow.
I played Pokemon Blue. That was, I did play that. I got it before we went on a trip up north, and I played it on the way there, and once I got there, I put it down and never touched it again. It just did not interest me at all. So
I think if you were to play it again, you'd have another opinion on it. I mean, like, I've been playing Pokemon Go for over a week now, and I am still in love with it. Like, last night, I went down to 5 corners, and I caught a Sea King, and I was so excited. I even posted it, even though I know you hate that, but I posted it. I was so excited. But, you know, I walked so much last night. And it didn't even feel like I was really walking. Like, you know, you're so engrossed in it that you don't realize how far you're actually walking until you look at your GPS, like, on your phone, like, through your, like, tracker or whatever to see how many steps and stuff you took, like, through your Fitbit thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I walked pretty far last night. I was surprised. And, you know, I think it's a great thing. It's bringing a lot of people together. You know, I mean, I couldn't even believe how many people were down in the parking lot at 5 corners last night playing. It was ridiculous. But, you know, it's bringing people together. It's getting people out. It's getting people to be active. Because me, I'm lazy. I don't like fucking walking anymore. But if I see a rare Pokemon somewhere popping up on my screen, I'm going.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But here's my question, though. How long will this game last? I mean, is it a fad? Is it going to be here for a while? Because, in all honesty, I think it's the simplicity, the fact that it's just a boring game, at least in my opinion. I'm not sure that it's going to last very long.
I think it will because there's such a nostalgic level to it that people, especially like in my age group, between the 21-year-olds and the 29-year-olds, that's really what's in our area right now playing mostly. I mean, I see some kids and stuff playing, like when I was at Greensburg, there was a guy playing with his 2 little boys and stuff, and they were having a good time with it. So it's actually bringing like a lot of people closer together too, instead of everybody just being separate on their phones. Because like when we were playing last night, you know, we were switching phones, like, hey, look at this, look what's on my screen, like, hey, can you help me catch this, you know, whatever. And even though I think it's only the original 150 Pokemon, because I don't think Mew or Mewtwo's in it yet, I heard rumors that they might be expanding it to the 2nd gen and possibly whatever other gens we have now.
I don't know. I just think, I mean, at least on the kids side of things, I think parents after this month are going to see their data charges going way up on their phone plans, and they're going to be
Which, honestly, you know, my stepsister, I have unlimited data on my plan, but she has Verizon where she shares 10 gigabytes with my stepmom and her girlfriend. And when she was up here for the whole week, I think she only used like 2 gigabytes out of that 10.
Yeah, but you figure, I mean, 2, you know, times 4, you're looking at 8 gig plus, you know.
Well, she was up here for like 5 days, so it's like.
That's kind of a lot, I mean, for that amount of time, especially if she's on a family plan. Now, I know T-Mobile announced that the first year of Pokemon Go will not count against their data usage on their phones. I'm not exactly sure of all the
I think that they have to,
of that, but
I believe they have to sign up
yeah,
for a certain plan. But here's the thing about T-Mobile. I used to work with them, or I used to work in a call center for them. They have really, really, really bad coverage.
Yeah, their coverage is
really bad coverage.
I actually have T-Mobile. Their coverage isn't the best, but their plans aren't too bad. So I mean that might be the best option right now. I think that's kind of going to push. I think they're hoping it's going to push other companies to have to do the same thing.
I think T-Mobile, I think theirs is $40 a month. Now with my Sprint, it's, if I wasn't leasing my phone and if I didn't have my iPad on my Sprint plan, my phone bill would probably be about $80. So it's double the price of T-Mobile, but I get service everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, so what's an extra $40 to make sure you have service? Especially if you're hunting Pokemon in the boons.
When you're kids and don't have any money, that's a lot. So,
well, I guess. I mean...
but keeping with the Pokemon subject here, it seems that from all the hoopla of Pokemon Go, that a live-action Pokemon film has been fast-tracked. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of pushing it. I don't know how you can do a live-action Pokemon movie.
I think it'd be kind of cool. I mean, think of, like, the cartoon Pokemon movies they have. You know, remember, like, as a kid? I don't know if you've ever seen them.
I mean, I worked at a video store for quite some time, so I have seen them. I know about them. I've had girlfriends who had brothers who watched it, everything like that. Like I said, I was never really big into the whole Pokemon scene.
Right.
And I do remember, I think it was the Mewtwo movie that came out was huge.
Yeah, that was the very first one. I saw it in theaters, I think, like 7 or 8 times because I was, like, obsessed. I was obsessed with it, I swear. But, I mean, they can probably do it because look at all the visual effects we have nowadays for movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Avengers, like, the first Avengers movie, the graphics were just phenomenal. And, like, when I went to go see Tarzan, like, the 3D was just amazing. From the first 3D movie I ever saw was Coraline. I loved the movie, hated the 3D, and I hated the special effects. But, like, the real live-action Tarzan movie was pretty good, except for the storyline. But that's, you know, another thing for another day.
Continuing with film. I'm sorry, I just can't do the Pokemon thing. It's so tough.
I love it. It's so fun. I gotta get you to playing it. I do.
Well, luckily for me, I have a Windows phone, and the app is not available for a Windows phone, so I'm in the clear right now.
You don't get no good apps.
Now, it was also released this week, some character pictures for the upcoming Power Rangers film. I'm actually really excited for this movie. Now,
I got excited, people.
When I was a kid, I was all about the Power Rangers.
I was too.
And with it, they have confirmed the names of the characters because I guess for a while people weren't sure if they were going to go with the original iteration of the characters or if they were going to make new characters or what. But the names of the characters will be Jason, Billy, Zach, Trini, and Kimberly. So the Power Rangers movie is due out March of 2017. They also... What's that?
I said I'm excited.
They also showed an image of Rita Repulsa and Trini. I guess Rita's kind of pushing Trini against the wall there. So it looks like this Rita is going to be a little more... what is the word I'm looking for here? A little more... hands-on when it comes to the Power Rangers, because if you remember anything from the show, she always stayed up on her base and had her minions and what were they, the putties? Doing her bidding. So
yeah, or was that Lord Zen or Zed?
That may have been his. I don't remember. It's been
no, she had putties too, I think.
Did she?
But they didn't have like the little Z where they hit them and then they die. They just kind of had a
thing. They just had the spandex on.
Yeah. I mean, I was a huge Power Rangers fan as a kid. I remember for Christmas one year, I saw a commercial on TV for the Power Rangers VHS things. It was Bloom on the Doom and Pinky on the Brain. That was like my favorite episode right there was the Bloom of Doom or whatever it was, because it was like Kimberly and she, like, her friends were against her, or she thought they were, and she was being like a total bitch. I love that episode. It was, like, one of my favorites. And then, like, I got it for Christmas, and then I got the costume, and I would not take it off for the life of me. I wore it, like, every day after school. And I'd, like, run through the fields with the cows and stuff playing Power Rangers. I was a nerd. I loved it.
Yeah. I was the same way. I mean, I remember the one Christmas, all I wanted was Power Ranger toys.
Yeah, same.
And that's all I got, was just Power Ranger toys. That Power Rangers was my life. I kind of... My childhood is phases, of what I was into. Like, that's how I remember my childhood, you know, and there was a Power Rangers phase that then turned into Star Wars, and then there was Dragon Ball Z. So, I mean, that's how I remember my life. But the very first one I really remember is Power Rangers. So,
yeah, I think my first was Power Rangers, and then it went to, like, Sailor Moon, and then Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, and it just progressed from there. And then I became really big into comic books and stuff like that as well. Mm-hmm. So that's how I remember my childhood. And now that we have Sailor Moon Crystal, I'm like, oh, yay! Oh, yay! It's good. I like it.
Now, Sigourney Weaver, who has been a huge proponent in sci-fi films over the years, but maybe her biggest one was playing Ripley in the Alien franchise. Sigourney Weaver says that her character from Alien will have a satisfying ending in the Aliens follow-up that is going to be directed by Neil Blomkamp. Now, the awesome thing about this, real quick, I want to touch on this, is that this film, this upcoming Aliens film, is going to ignore Alien 3 and 4. Now, any of you fans out there that enjoy the Alien franchise know, as well as anyone, that 3 and 4 were a disgrace to the franchise. So it's really nice that they're going to pretty much just do away with those films, ignore them, and continue the series after the second Alien movie, Aliens, which many believe to be one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. And Sigourney Weaver had this to say. She goes, "It's a great story, and it's satisfying to me to give this woman an ending. The script itself has so much in it that's so original, but also really satisfies the primal needs of the aliens. It's a tribute to all the great work that the other directors have done, and in a way, but it also goes in a completely new direction." So, and she does say, "I hope we'll do it." And the reason why she actually says, "I hope we'll do it," is it seems that they put a hold on that movie because of Ridley Scott doing the new Prometheus sequel. And again, the Prometheus films do take place in the same universe, and I guess they don't want the confusion of the Prometheus sequel and the Alien sequel because they all kind of touch on the symbiote and the aliens and stuff like that. So they've put that on hold because of that. So now we have to wait probably a good 2 or 3 years until this film gets made, unfortunately. But it is exciting to hear that, you know, they have a script, they have everything going. I know, Rachel, you're not too big on aliens and films like that. So.
I got suckered into watching 2 of them this year. I got suckered into 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I thought it was just going to be like a post-apocalyptic movie, like, oh my god, nuclear bombs and shit go off, so there's like a bunker in ground. No. Freaking, what is his name? Who played, what is his name?
In what?
In 10 Cloverfield Lane. John Goodman.
There you go.
Yeah. He kept hinting to aliens, and I'm like looking at my friend like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. If there's aliens in the movie, you're dead. And then I think, what was it, about 2 weeks ago, I went to go see Independence Day 2. And honestly, the visuals were great. Storyline, not so much. So I did survive 2 alien movies this summer. I'm proud of myself.
Well then, getting off of Alien so I don't give you nightmares tonight.
Yeah, right?
Mark Ruffalo, who plays Bruce Banner or the Hulk in the Marvel Universe, has been posting behind-the-scenes footage of Thor Ragnarok on his Twitter and social media. The images don't really spoil anything, but I think it's just a way of getting people excited that this movie is being made. It is going forward, so I think a lot of people are excited about that.
I am. I mean, there's some things I'm not excited about, like the whole Enchantress thing right now, because I don't know how I feel about it. The actress that they have playing her, I'm just kind of like, eh. And, you know, I want Jane Foster and Thor. Like, that's my favorite pairing. I ship that.
Yeah, I think the actress, I can't remember her name, but she played in Creed, which recently came out this year, which was an amazing film if you haven't seen that. But yeah, I believe she's the actress that's going to be playing Enchantress. And we do know that Jane Foster, I mean, Natalie Portman pretty much washed her hands of the Marvel Universe. She was pretty much saying she's done with it.
After the first one, she didn't want to do the second one, apparently. But, you know, her contract made her do the second one. Mm-hmm. And then she was like, I'm out. I don't want to do the third one. So I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen, because last time we left off, Thor was on Midgard, Earth, and he was with Jane at the end of Thor 2 on Earth. But then in Age of Ultron, he goes to the, I guess it's a cave, and that kind of tells him that there's some bad shit going on in Asgard, which, spoiler alert, Loki, you little shit. So I'm kind of excited to see how that's going to happen, like how are them two going to break up, or if it's just not even going to be mentioned, kind of like how Tony and Pepper are right now. Like, you know, every time they mention Pepper, he's just like, yeah, we're having issues.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I want to see these issues. I don't believe it.
We also got an image, or our first image, of Pennywise, who is the antagonist of the It movie that will be coming out, the Stephen King It movie. Now, Pennywise will be portrayed by Bill Skarsgård. He hasn't been in too much in his career. He is related to Alexander Skarsgård as well as Stellan Skarsgård. Stellan Skarsgård, who was in the Thor movies, which is his father in real life. But Bill, his main role that he's been in that people may know him from is Hemlock Grove. So he played the son of Famke Janssen, which was a good season 1. Season 2 kind of got wacky, and I
didn't like it.
I couldn't even finish the 3rd episode of season 3. So that show, I think, had promise, but I think the fact that there was only ever one book written, and they did that whole book in the first season, and then they tried to continue it on after that, kind of ruined that whole thing.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it, and I didn't care for it.
But as for the picture of Pennywise, it was the first horror movie or horror miniseries that I ever saw as a child. It scared the bejesus out of me.
I never even watched it because I hate clowns.
And that's the thing. I'm not afraid of clowns or anything like that now, but I know a lot of people who saw that and was just afraid of clowns from there. And it's funny, I was having a talk with a couple people, and they're like, oh man, that miniseries was just terrible. If it wasn't for Tim Curry and Harry Anderson, who played in it as well, that miniseries or that movie just would have been terrible. And it's true. It really does not hold up at all. So I am looking forward to the movie that they're remaking it into a movie. So it should be good. Kong Skull Island. There has been a first look released for that by Warner Brothers. The image shows Mr. Tom Hiddleston, or should we call him Mr. Tom Swift now?
No. His name's Tittles.
As well as 3 other actors standing in front of a very large skull. And people believe that this is possibly showing us how large King Kong will be in this movie. The director has been heard saying, I believe his name is Vogt Roberts, I can't say his name. He states that it will be the largest Kong that we have seen yet in film, or on film. So I know that there was the King Kong that was released probably about 10 years ago by Peter Jackson. They were saying like that King Kong was about 25 feet. The King Kong made in the 30s was like 25 feet. Then there was one in the 70s that was like 35 feet. They're saying this one, while they don't put a number on it, will be the largest Kong that we've seen yet. So
probably about like 100-foot Kong.
That would be ridiculous. But I am interested in seeing this movie. Who doesn't like a big scary monster movie?
I just want to see Tittles.
You'll get to see him plenty in the next couple years.
I know. I want to go see that. I guess it's out on DVD now. That High Rise, because that part with him just laying out in the sun. Yep.
Now, some big news this weekend. Obviously, next weekend is San Diego Comic-Con, but this week, the big news and the big events going on is Star Wars Celebration in Europe. And announced just yesterday to us, I don't know when you guys will be listening to this, but Daisy Ridley and Mark Hamill wrapped on episode 8. So they are done filming. Now the rest of the film is expected to wrap completely sometime within the next week from now. But, that's very promising. We may see a little bit of something at Comic-Con next week with it. Maybe, hopefully. I don't know. Kind of hoping.
Keep your fingers crossed.
But I doubt it. But again, this week is Star Wars Celebration, which is being held in London this year. And Friday marked the start of it. It was pretty exciting. I watched a good bit of it streaming through YouTube. We see a lot of information on the upcoming Star Wars Rebels season. It was kind of cool. We saw some footage the other day which showed Ezra, who's the protagonist of the show, sporting a new hairdo and wielding a new lightsaber. And anybody who watched the last season of Rebels knows why he needed a new lightsaber. It was one of the most heart-wrenching episodes of a cartoon that I think I've ever watched in my life, but I think it's because Star Wars is so close to my heart that it was like that for me. Then there was also a Rogue One panel today where we had most of the cast and the crew on stage to talk about the upcoming movie Star Wars Rogue One. Now, during the event, they unveiled a sizzle reel, which showed about 2 minutes, 50 seconds, almost 3 minutes worth of footage, of behind-the-scenes footage. There was some, movie footage sprinkled in through it, but nothing that was like, whoa, that's awesome, I can't wait for this movie. It did get me more excited, but what I was really looking forward to was the 3-minute trailer that was promised by countless outlets, websites and TV stations and channels and TV providers, because today, this is Friday that we're recording this, there was a special on ABC for The Force Awakens. It's basically the behind-the-scenes footage or video that they put on the release of the Blu-ray and digital copy of The Force Awakens. It's about an hour long, and we were promised that we would get a 3-minute trailer with that. And unfortunately, we did not get that trailer. All they put in there was the 3-minute sizzle reel that was at Star Wars Celebration. Now, at Star Wars Celebration, they did get a trailer. It has been leaked online. It's not the best quality if you can find it. I recommend maybe not watching it, the leaked footage, because it's not very good quality and could ruin your take on it. However, I just think that Star Wars dropped the ball here. I really do. I mean, I know that Comic-Con is coming up next week, and maybe they wanted to keep something to show at Comic-Con, and maybe that's what they want to do.
Right.
But this weekend is supposed to be about Star Wars, celebrating what is possibly one of the greatest movie sagas of all time. And there were so many people excited, like, we're going to get a trailer for this finally. And they don't release it. I think it's leaving a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, and this is the first blunder that Disney and Lucasfilm have made since taking over the franchise. I don't know. I know I'm upset, and because this is still today, I'm probably a little more upset than I should be. But
Patience.
I don't know. I just think that Rogue One is such a different type of take on Star Wars. It's not going to follow the main storyline with the Skywalkers and everything. I think the sooner they get information out about this movie, the better it is for the casual fans who are going to be sitting there saying, well, where's Rey? Where's Finn? Where's Kylo Ren? If you get that information out now, the excitement can build instead of releasing a trailer like they did with The Force Awakens in October and then only having 2 months to explain to everybody, like, oh, well, this is what's going on.
Right.
So, again, maybe they're releasing it next week. Maybe, or maybe because of all the leaks that are online, they'll do what Disney always does and gets upset, yells about it a little bit, and then releases it online themselves.
Yeah.
Who knows, but it was a bit of a disappointment.
I mean, I know myself, I really need to catch up with watching all the Star Wars. I really would just want to have a movie marathon night and just watch all of the originals, plus, the 3 crapshoot ones, and then the newest one.
Yeah.
Just so that I can kind of be caught up, because, I only seen, I think, episode 1 after the original releases, and I was just kind of like, I don't understand what's going on anymore. What happened to life?
All right, look, you need to come over to my place. We'll set aside a day. I mean, you're only looking at about 12 hours. We'll just set aside 12 hours, and, well, maybe more like 14 now with The Force Awakens, and we'll watch all 7 movies.
Well, then we need to binge watch some Marvel movies, because I just heard something about Black Panther, and I'm kind of excited. But we'll get on that topic another time whenever we get more details on Black Panther.
All right.
Because I'm excited.
So now for the big event of the episode. This week, the release of Ghostbusters happened. And a lot of people prior to this were not happy that this movie was even being made. The YouTube, the trailer that was on YouTube had the highest amount of dislikes in YouTube history. People have not taken well to the idea of this Ghostbusters, and a lot of people have been saying because it's women that are the
sexist
that are the main characters. However, I myself, I have not seen the movie yet, but I did get a chance to speak with Austin Savatt. He is with the Steel City Ghostbusters, which is based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And he got a chance to go to LA last week for the premiere. So I did get to sit down, talk with him, short little interview here. So listen to this here. It's actually pretty good. Hey everybody, it's Robert here, and with me today is Austin Savatt. He is with the Steel City Ghostbusters, and today we're going to talk a little bit about what the Steel City Ghostbusters, who they are, and also he had a chance to see the new Ghostbusters film at the premiere in LA, so we'll talk to him a little bit about that. So to get started, Austin, what is the Steel City Ghostbusters?
The Steel City Ghostbusters are a group of like-minded, fans of the franchise that have been dressing up since 2008 and going to movie events, parades, kids' birthday parties, drive-ins. Anytime something related to the movie we can go to, we try to send a little force. There's about 20 of us, and just try and bring smiles to people's faces when we do it.
All right, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I know I've seen a lot of pictures of you on Facebook and things like that of going to different events, to the parades in Pittsburgh and stuff like that. So it looks like you're having a lot of fun doing that.
Oh yeah, it's a total blast. People see the car come around the corner and a bunch of guys in jumpsuits jump out, and they turn into a 6-year-old kid.
Now, was it because you were with the Steel City Ghostbusters that you were able to go to the premiere in LA?
Yeah, Sony sent out invitations to all the franchises nationwide privately. They've been in touch with us the last couple months since the movie's been building up, and they sent an email to us saying if any of you guys can make your own way out to here, bring your jumpsuit, bring your gear. We're going to have you stand on the red carpet and interact with the celebrities.
That's cool. Did you get to meet anybody, interesting, or was it just kind of from a distance?
Well, there was a little bit of a mixed bag because they split two groups of us up. There was a group at the front end of the parade where the celebrities were getting out of their limousines and signing autographs and taking selfies with people. And then there was a group that I was in that was moved down to the front doors to form like a tunnel of people in jumpsuits on the way into the building. And we got a handful of signatures and stuff over there too, but nothing more than a handshake and a couple words exchanged, though.
Okay, yeah. What was your impression of the event? Not so much the movie, but the event. Like, did they treat you guys well?
Yeah, they treated us really well. Sony really pulled out all the stops to try and, send out an olive branch to all the fans nationwide who do this to try and, smooth over. There's been a lot of apprehension about the movie, about it being all women and all that, and they really wanted to make a statement that they appreciate the fans, and everyone down there recognized that, and everyone down there had a blast.
Yeah, you definitely just touched on something that's been pretty big since I think it was announced that it was all women. People just they weren't happy with it. Many fans weren't happy with it, with the idea of it being all women, which I don't know why that was such a big deal. However, I've personally seen some reviews since the premiere where the reviews of the movie have been decent. It's been well received, but I think a lot of people feel that the worry of them pushing the women definitely was something to be worried about. Did you notice that with the movie at all? Was there anything that seemed like, okay, they're trying to push women down our throat?
Well, not the movie itself, not really, but I definitely know what you're talking about, the fan reaction. Fan reaction was always, when people see us on the street, one of the lines they always say to us is, "Hey, where's Venkman?" I mean, they fell in love with the characters from the 1984 movie, and that's what a lot of the fans wanted to see. They wanted to see more of those characters, and unfortunately, the time's passed on those guys. They're all in their 70s, and the reality of the situation is they weren't going to be able to make a Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah, unfortunately, and with the unfortunate passing of Harold Ramis as well, that pretty much solidified it, I think, because it was shortly after that everything was announced. So that was unfortunate, and I agree. There's a certain point where you have to move on, but I think a lot of people with all the remakes that have been coming up now, I think people weren't quite ready for this one yet. But again, like I said, I've seen a lot of and heard a lot of reviews where the movie's funny, it makes you laugh, but I've also heard a lot of people say that it doesn't quite stack up to the original. What's your opinion on that?
It's fun. It's definitely entertaining. It lacks some of the charm of the original, but people have been asking me this question a lot recently since I've seen it in LA. And the best thing I can compare it to is it's like a cousin of the movie. Like, you could tell it's related. They kind of grew up in the same neighborhood maybe, but it's got its quirks. It's not the same. But it was still entertaining. I saw it in L.A., tons of laughs. I saw it for the first time last night in Pittsburgh with the Pittsburgh crowd, and people laughed from the beginning to the end. So the critics, they're scathing it, but kids loved it. Everyone's inner child loved it. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody who was completely against the movie to begin with, do you think if they saw it, would they be converted to saying, okay, it was worth it? Like, is it a movie that should have been made?
Well, that's a tough question. They'd probably groan and roll their eyes a handful of times in the movie, especially with some of the callbacks and like cheap humor. But they'd probably leave the theater with a little bit of respect for Paul Feig and all the girls, that they put a hell of a lot of effort into it, and it works. It's not a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think it's going to be, like a tour de force for the franchise, but it keeps the ball rolling, and hopefully it's going to bring some smiles to some kids' faces.
Do you think we'll see a sequel?
The movie ends on a note that they want a sequel, and I bet it's going to entirely depend on how well the movie does financially, if it's going to get a sequel or not. It's going to take a big hit financially with the recent news that the movie won't be released in China.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for talking to me about all this. Is there any specific way, if people want to get more information on Steel City Ghostbusters, that they can reach out to you or to the Steel City Ghostbusters?
Yeah, we have a fan page on Facebook that's Steel City Ghostbusters. We have a Twitter, which is at Steel City GBs. And the car itself has its own Facebook page, the Pittsburgh Ecto 1, who usually rides along with us whenever we do events. And if you want to contact us through there, we respond pretty frequently. And we like to do, kids' birthday parties, stuff like that, corporate events. Anything you hear about that we might be interested, just pass it along to us.
Well, again, thanks for coming on and talking to me about this, and hopefully we hear from you again soon.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
All right, so that was Austin Savatt from the Steel City Ghostbusters, and, he makes it sound like the movie's going to be a good time. I haven't seen it yet. I kind of want to see it now because of what he said, he was saying. I don't know. What do you think, Rachel?
Yeah, I've been wanting to see it. I'm all for, movie with all women, not because I'm feminist or anything like that, but, times have changed and generations are different now, and, we do need more movies aimed towards females, because whenever, me personally, before all these comic book movies, me and my mom, we'd go watch chick flicks together all the time. And it was just, not something I was into, but now that we're getting more female action-packed movies, I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I understand where you're coming from. Obviously I cannot relate because I'm a guy.
Don't get me wrong, if they change, because we had this conversation the last podcast we did about Marvel changing their characters to female. Now that I'm not too big on. But to have, a whole new storyline with, these new characters, yeah, I feel like they should have mixed it up a little bit, but I kind of see where they're going with it. They're kind of giving that thing that women can be just as powerful as men, But we already know that. We already have the right to vote. Hell, we might have a female president here in the next few months. Yay.
We'll get into that on our other podcast.
Right.
But honestly, sitting here, when there was so much controversy coming into this film, Austin, as well as some other critics, have definitely put some of those worries to bed, at least in my eyes. However, there is one review I heard that kind of worried me, and I did read or actually watch this review prior to talking to Austin. I mentioned it a little bit in there with the interview of how they actually treat the movie as they're trying to just push women down our throat. And I said that because the review that I saw mentioned how there was every man that was in the movie was either completely ignorant, he was just dumb, wasn't smart in any way, was effeminate, or very feminine, or an asshole. And I don't think that's the way that they should have gone. Now, again, I haven't seen the movie, so I'll be able to make a judgment on that once I see the movie.
I think we just need to go. Let's go right now.
But once I see it, if that is really what they did, if they really have no strong male character in it, that's definitely not the way to go. And it's really bizarre because it is a guy who directed the movie. So, but again, he is known for directing, women. I mean, I believe he was the director of Bridesmaids.
Get on your knees.
And this. So, I don't know. It's a little disheartening to hear that, if that is the case. But I am excited to see it now because, as Austin was saying, everybody's laughing. There are times where you're going to laugh. There's times when you're going to enjoy yourself. I've never been I wasn't ever too worried about the movie. Like I said, I don't think I was ready for a reboot of the Ghostbusters franchise. I don't think I was. The 1984 movie, while I wasn't born until 1986, the 1984 movie that was my childhood. I watched that movie all the time. And, I don't know, I just wasn't ready for it yet, I guess. That's all I'm saying. I
mean, I feel like that's with any reboot of a movie. You're just like, oh man, I'm so used to the original. Like, I don't think they should reboot this. Not yet, not ever,
Yeah.
But sometimes we do get some decent reboots from movies, I mean, I really can't think of any off the top of my head right now because I'm kind of like...
See, personally, I don't think I would have had the same feelings if they would have just made it a continuation. Like, not necessarily Ghostbusters 3, but if they would have acknowledged the previous films, like, maybe the cameos, because from what I understand, the original cast, they do have cameos within the movie, and if they wouldn't have been just cameos of random people, because none of them play the characters that they played in the old film. If they would have done it that way, maybe the Ghostbusters was disbanded and these women decide to start it up again, something like that maybe would have been better. I don't know. I do want to see the movie. It sounds like it's a good time. Austin seems to recommend it, so I would definitely give it a chance. Obviously, if it's good enough, then it'll probably get a sequel, probably another franchise in the making.
Well, we'll see. I mean, you never know what can happen. I mean, you might go and expect it to be, this feministic movie, and then you just end up loving it.
Yeah.
You can't really tell with movies any day, especially trailers. Most trailers, they give away the full movie, and then you're sitting there in theaters like, oh, okay, well, I saw that coming.
Yeah, and then other times Batman vs. Superman was probably the worst with that.
You think? I could say that with Age of Ultron a little bit, too. That was kind of like, you already saw where this was going. Yeah. Civil War had me on the edge of my seat the whole time, and you were there, so you were like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So, trailers are trailers. I want to go see the thing so I can actually just see for myself if I like it or not. I can't go by people's opinions because I've seen movies before where people are like, oh my god, that movie's so shitty, I can't believe I watched it. And then I'm like, hey, I like that. That was cool.
Well, it is out now in theaters across the country, and like Austin said, unfortunately it will not be releasing in China, so if any of you are listening to us from China, which I highly doubt, but if any of you are, you may have to take a flight over to North America to check it out, or maybe someplace closer to you, maybe.
Well, why are they not allowing that movie in China?
It's not that they're not allowing it, they just don't believe it's going to get a very big reception in China. It's just not... it's not their kind of movie from the way it sounds. So I mean...
No, I mean, that could be something that people like, oh my god, hey, I like that.
Yeah, maybe. I really...
You don't know about people anymore, because, like, there's a lot of, like, before the Marvel movies released, everybody was, like, a closet book nerd. Like, they didn't come out of the closet about reading the comics or anything like that. And then when the movies started hitting, you know, the big screen, people were like, especially women, they're like, oh my god, I love Marvel films and stuff, and majority of them, yes, they don't read the comics, but still, you know, you never know what happens until you just release it. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Just do it.
Yeah, but again, you know, the amount of money that they would have to spend in promoting it in China, and then if they get a poor reception,
yeah, well,
it's probably not worth it.
You win some, you lose some, and that's what I've learned about being in a marketing department. You know, you gotta take risk.
Yeah, well, when you're talking about a multi-million-dollar movie, I'm sure that's not a risk they want to take. So, anyway, I don't know. Do you have anything else for us, by any chance? I pretty much covered everything today.
No, not really, because, like, I think we should just have a big Marvel podcast one day and go over some things that are coming up in the Marvel comic book universe movies.
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely. I mean, I know the next episode may be delayed a little bit. I haven't decided whether I want to get all the information from San Diego Comic-Con before the next episode, because there's going to be a lot of information, or if maybe we'll do multiple episodes, maybe 2 or 3 shorter episodes, as information comes out from Comic-Con. But next week's going to be a huge week for information, whether it's Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you know, other movies. You know, we know when it comes to Comic-Con, almost anybody and anything gets unveiled there. So next week should be an exciting time for news. But with that said, I've got nothing else, and you know, you can definitely reach us at CS Podcast Radio on Twitter. You can follow us there and get all the latest updates on all of our other podcasts, as well as our upcoming episodes. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or YouTube. Again, there you can get all of our latest episodes as well as our past episodes. And then you can find us on Facebook at CS Podcast Radio. That's our flagship radio network there. So, with that said, this has been The Remote Control. I'm Robert Slavinsky. With me was Rachel. You guys have a good night.
Ciao.